Nellie Bly. The name itself crackles with energy, with a hint of daring. Born Elizabeth Cochrane Seaman in 1864, she adopted the pen name Nellie Bly to shield her family from the controversy she would inevitably court. Bly was a force of nature, a woman who refused to be confined by the rigid expectations of her time. She was a pioneer, a trailblazer, a woman who redefined what it meant to be a journalist, and a woman in an era that sought to limit women's roles. Bly's career began in Pittsburgh, where she responded to a sexist column in the Pittsburgh Dispatch with a fiery rebuttal. Impressed by her spirit, the editor offered her a job. She took on the name Nellie Bly and dove headfirst into a world dominated by men. Bly refused to be relegated to the women's pages, covering fashion and society gossip. She wanted to write about real issues, to give voice to the voiceless. Bly's early work focused on the plight of working women, exposing sweatshop conditions and challenging labour laws. Her writing was vivid, visceral and unflinchingly honest. She brought to life the struggles of the women she wrote about, humanising their experiences and demanding change. Her work resonated with readers, particularly women who saw in Bly a fearless champion for their rights. However, it was her investigative journalism that would cement Bly's place in history. Bly believed in immersive reporting, in experiencing firsthand the stories she told. This belief led her to undertake two of the most daring journalistic feats of her time, an undercover expose of a women's asylum and a record-breaking trip around the world. These feats captivated the public imagination, turning Nellie Bly into a household name and forever changing the face of journalism. In the late 19th century, the Women's Lunatic Asylum on Blackwell's Island in New York City was shrouded in mystery. Rumors of abuse, neglect, and inhumane treatment swirled around the institution. But the asylum's walls held their secrets tight, inaccessible to the prying eyes of the outside world. Nellie Bly, ever the crusader, saw this as a challenge, a wrong that needed righting. To expose the truth, Bly knew she had to go undercover. It was a risky plan, fraught with danger. Feigning insanity, she had herself committed to the asylum. The charade was convincing. Doctors declared her mentally unfit, stripping her of her name, her clothes, and her freedom. Bly entered the asylum's grim walls, ready to witness firsthand the horrors that awaited. For 10 days, Bly lived as a patient, enduring the squalor, the cruelty, and the despair that permeated every corner of the asylum. She witnessed women subjected to ice-cold baths, forced into silence, and physically abused by the very people entrusted with their care. She listened to their stories, their pleas for help falling on deaf ears. Bly documented everything, committing it all to memory, knowing that her notebook would be confiscated if discovered. After 10 grueling days, Bly's true identity was revealed, and she was released from the asylum. The world, hungry for her story, devoured her account, published in installments in the New York World under the headline 10 Days in a Madhouse. Bly's writing was raw, powerful, and deeply disturbing. She described the asylum's horrific conditions in vivid detail, her words painting a stark picture of the suffering endured by the women within its walls. The impact of Bly's expose was immediate and profound. Public outcry over the conditions she revealed forced a grand jury investigation into the asylum. The investigation corroborated Bly's findings, leading to increased funding for mental health institutions and reforms in patient care. Bly's work sparked a national conversation about mental illness and the treatment of the mentally ill, a conversation that continues to resonate today. Bly's undercover reporting set a new standard for investigative journalism. She demonstrated the power of immersive reporting, of experiencing firsthand the stories she was telling. Her work inspired a generation of journalists, particularly women, to break free from the confines of traditional reporting and to use their voices to expose injustice and effect change. 3 years after her asylum expose, Nellie Bly embarked on another daring adventure, a race around the world. Inspired by Jules Verne's novel Around the World in 80 Days, Bly proposed to her editors at the New York World that she could beat the fictional Phileas Fogg's time. The editors, knowing a good story when they heard one, readily agreed. On November 14, 1889, Bly set sail from New York City on the Augusta Victoria, a steamer bound for Europe. She carried with her only a single bag, containing the essentials, a few changes of clothes, toiletries, writing materials, and a revolver, just in case. Bly travelled light, knowing that speed was of the essence. Bly's journey was a whirlwind of trains, steamships, and even a ride on an elephant. She traversed continents, navigating unfamiliar cultures and languages, all while filing regular dispatches for the New York World. Her stories, filled with her signature wit and keen observations, captivated readers back home, who eagerly followed her progress. Section 5. Aboard the Augusta Victoria, Triumphs and Tribulations. Bly's journey was not without its challenges. Storms at sea delayed her progress, and train schedules proved unreliable. In some countries, she faced skepticism and resistance as a lone female traveller. Yet Bly persevered, her determination fueled by the knowledge that the world was watching. Throughout her journey, Bly embraced the unexpected. She met with dignitaries and commoners, sampled exotic cuisines, and learned about the customs and traditions of the places she visited. She wrote about it all, sharing her experiences with her readers and bringing the world closer to home. Bly's journey was more than just a race against time. It was a testament to her courage, her resourcefulness, and her unwavering belief in herself. She challenged the limitations placed on women, proving that they could be just as adventurous, as daring, and as capable as their male counterparts. Section 6. Bly's legacy, a beacon for truth and equality. On January 25, 1890, after 72 days, 6 hours and 11 minutes, Nellie Bly arrived back in New York City, greeted by a hero's welcome. She had shattered the record set by Phileas Fogg, becoming a global sensation in the process. Bly's around-the-world trip cemented her status as a journalistic icon. Her feat captured the public imagination, inspiring awe and admiration. She had shown the world what was possible with determination, courage, and a thirst for adventure. More importantly, Bly's journey challenged societal norms and expectations. She had travelled the world alone as a single woman in a time when such a feat was considered unthinkable. She had proven that women were capable of so much more than society gave them credit for. Beyond journalism, a life of activism. Nellie Bly's adventures in journalism were only one chapter in a life filled with purpose and passion. She was a tireless advocate for social justice, using her platform to speak out against corruption, inequality, and injustice. Bly's writing often focused on the plight of the marginalised and the forgotten. She wrote about the struggles of immigrants in New York City, exposing the deplorable conditions in tenements and fighting for improved living conditions. She campaigned for women's suffrage, believing that women deserved an equal voice in society. Bly's activism extended beyond her writing. She was a successful businesswoman, founding her own manufacturing company. She was also a devoted philanthropist, supporting organizations that aligned with her values, such as orphanages and homes for the elderly. A legacy remembered. Nellie Bly's enduring impact. Nellie Bly died in 1922 at the age of 57, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire generations. She was a pioneer in investigative journalism, a champion for social justice, and a role model for women around the world. Bly's work paved the way for generations of female journalists who followed in her footsteps. She showed them that they could break down barriers, challenge the status quo, and use their voices to make a difference. Bly's impact extends far beyond the realm of journalism. She is remembered as a trailblazer, a woman who defied expectations and lived life on her own terms. She is an inspiration to anyone who has ever dared to dream big, to challenge convention, and to fight for what they believe in. Inspiration for generations. Bly's influence today. Nellie Bly's legacy continues to resonate today, more than a century after her death. Her name is synonymous with courage, determination, and a commitment to truth. Bly's story is a reminder that one person can make a difference. Her work exposing the horrors of the Blackwell's Island Asylum led to real and lasting change in the treatment of the mentally ill. Her around-the-world trip challenged societal norms and inspired generations of women to pursue their dreams. Bly's life and work are still relevant today, in a world where injustice and inequality persist. Her story is a call to action, a reminder that we all have a responsibility to speak truth to power, to fight for what is right, and to never give up on our dreams. Conclusion. The unflinching spirit of Nellie Bly. Nellie Bly was more than just a journalist. She was a force of nature. She was a woman of unwavering conviction, boundless energy, and an unquenchable thirst for adventure. She challenged the conventions of her time, pushing boundaries and breaking down barriers. Bly's legacy is one of courage, determination, and an unwavering commitment to truth and justice. She taught us the power of a single voice, the importance of speaking truth to power, and the boundless possibilities that exist when we dare to dream big. Nellie Bly's spirit lives on in the countless individuals she inspired, in the journalists who continue to fight for truth and justice, and in the women who dare to challenge the status quo. She reminds us that the world is full of possibilities, and that with courage, determination, and a little bit of adventure, we can achieve anything we set our minds to.